Hi, my name is Jason William Johnson, and this is the Psychology of Success. I have the biggest brain on the internet. It's a big, beautiful brain, I tell you. Nobody's brain is more beautiful than mine. That's why I give the best tips. I give the best ideas. Don't listen to Crooked Oprah or Crooked Tony Robbins, because all they're giving is fake knowledge.
Look, I'm focused, man, I'm always humble and through the stress. I had setbacks, but carried on nonetheless. I do my best, I never rest until I get yachts, mansions, and TED Talks in Budapest. I got the positive mindset to manifest what I desire. The fire is burning in my chest. So let me give y'all guidance and tutelage and teach all y'all the psychology of success.
Man, let me take off this mask. This is starting to make me get nauseated. Jason William Johnson, the Psychology of Success. And the reason I'm doing this little Donald Trump shenanigans is partly because it's Halloween. But since it is Halloween, I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity for us to discuss authenticity. All of us wear masks each day. When we're going to work, when we're out with friends, and when we're socializing in general. So why do we wear these masks? And that's the first thing we want to understand. Oftentimes it's because we want to fit in, we have a fear of being judged, we have a fear of being ridiculed. But what if I told you you could be your authentic self in all of these different social situations? A lot of people may think this is impossible. A lot of people may actually think that wearing a mask is part of society. It's just something we have to do on a day-to-day basis. But I'm here to tell you otherwise, that you can be your authentic self in all sorts of situations. So how can we learn to be more authentic? There's a few different ways we can do it. First of all, we got to understand who we are first and foremost. What are our interests? What are our desires? What are our goals? Oftentimes we get so caught up in our mask and our roles, we don't recognize who we are. So I'm gonna share an example. My mother did a great job raising me and my sister, but once we became adults and we went to college, she had no idea who she was. She had no idea what her goals and her interests were. Why? Because she was so caught up in the role of being a mother, she forgot who she was. The role became her, and she no longer was aware of what her interests were, what her core desires were. Same thing with people in their jobs. They get so caught up in their position, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm a scientist, that they lose touch with who they are. So one of the first things we have to do is just to get in tune with what our interests are, what we desire, what our strengths and what our weaknesses are. There's a few different ways we can do this. We can do some quiet meditation and reflection to kind of really think about what we're passionate about. You can ask friends and family who know you on a personal level. What are my greatest strengths? What are my greatest talents? How you think I could utilize these things to make the world a better place? But it's important for us to understand who we are and what we bring to the table so that we can live more authentically. Second tip I would recommend is change your environment. Oftentimes people are afraid to be authentic because they're around people that they fear will judge them, or they're in a job that doesn't make the best use of their strengths. One of the best things that I ever did was change my environment. There was a time a few years ago where I was in a job that I hated. I really didn't enjoy the people I was socializing with, and I made a purposeful change to change both of those things. I got myself around individuals who would accept my individual strengths and talents, my interest in sense of humor, and all of these different things. I left the job that I was currently working, and then I started my own business. And then that made things a whole lot better as far as, really being in an environment that utilized my strengths and my talents. My third piece of advice would be to give zero fucks. You heard it. Make sure all the fucks in your life are extinct. If fucks were a village, make sure you pillage it and empty it clean. Take all the firstborn sons out to the woods and behead them. You really can't give a fuck about what people think. I'm gonna tell you why. Oftentimes we get into the whole trap of people pleasing, which doesn't allow us to be our authentic self. And what you have to recognize is no matter how much energy you put toward pleasing other people, you're gonna always find somebody who doesn't like you. There's gonna always be an instance when what you're doing isn't good enough, and you're never gonna be happy. So first of all, you got to get out the mode of trying to please others and please yourself. Second of all, one of the things that I recognize is there is a million different versions of me. For every person that I know, there's a different version of me. Now, there may be some things that they all agree are similar. So Jason is funny. Jason has a great sense of humor. Jason is really good with personality psychology. Jason used to be the coolest basketball player back in high school until he got hurt. But at the same time, there's also falsehoods and things that people identify with you based on their own filter, based on their own individual experiences, based on their own insecurities. So ultimately, the person who has the most information is the one that's accurate, right? Who has more information about you than you? Nobody knows your exact story the way you know it. Nobody knows the internal challenges you have like you do. Nobody knows, your goals and your passions better than you do. So people can have their different opinions of you, but ultimately your opinion is the one that holds the most weight, and your opinion is the one that's the most accurate. So knowing that should give you the confidence to be your authentic self. And if somebody judges you, don't worry about it, because they're going to judge you anyway. Whether you're people pleasing or whether you're being your authentic self, you're going to get judged regardless. So you might as well be your authentic self. So those are a few tips that I recommend for living more authentically. Learn more about yourself, change your environment, and give zero fucks. And hopefully this information allows you to live more authentically and gives you the courage to take off your mask. Jason William Johnson, The Psychology of Success, and I'm out.